Okay, so it's no secret that Canada has produced some of the world's funniest people.
Yeah.
And a lot of them had to leave this country to get steady work. But one of the funniest currently working is in this country. It's our pal Ron James.
Just before you ramp up, don't you think we'd be more comfortable at a round table?
How did Ron get to be so funny? Well, let's go back a bit. He grew up in Nova Scotia, surrounded by friends and family who knew the value of a good story. I think a lot of you can relate to that. He studied history at Acadia, actually planned on being a teacher, but couldn't shake that feeling that maybe he just might have been missing his calling. So Ron moved to Toronto and joined the great Second City. Now, back then, he didn't want to be the next Pryor or Carlin. He just wanted to be an actor. So following in the footsteps of many a Canadian entertainer, Ron did go to Los Angeles, and 3 years later, like many a Canadian entertainer, Ron came home. Not empty-handed exactly, but with a different set of priorities. Ron turned his LA experience into a comedy special called Up and Down in Shaky Town. The show was a hit, but more importantly, it captured Ron's true character, right? He told stories, and his comedy had a distinctly Canadian tone.
Slide me up a double-double and a chocolate dip, darling, because you got me warm in the secret spots.
Now Ron's got a weekly platform called The Ron James Show right here on the Mother Network. It's Ron trying to make sense of our screwed-up world from his unique point of view. And fortunately for us, there's always something out there that's driving him nuts.
If beer prices fluctuated like the price of oil, we'd be storming Parliament with pitchforks and torches, baby.
Ron James!
Thank you, pal.
Good, sir.
Good to see you again, brother.
Thank you.
Good. How you doing?
We just got to get right into it. So
Right.
watching the footage of the Cap Mosca fight,
Wow.
right? And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, Ron James is there.
Yeah.
What? Have you ever seen two 7-year-olds go at it like that?
No. Look, I introduced this clip. I did my set.
Yeah.
I did a 20-minute set, and it was fun, maybe a little longer. Everybody was in a good mood. Grey Cup day, you know, Princess Patricia's Piper singing God Save the Queen, the whole 9 yards, right? Grey Cups marching in through and everything like that. And there's Angelo Mosca sitting at the table in front of me with a leonine-sized skull. Listen, folks, they don't make a head that big anymore. They just don't, you know? It's massive. It's like the size of a Macy's float. It's a massive head, right? So, unbeknownst to me, he had extended his hand a couple times to Joe Cap. Now, Angelo Mosca came from the ghetto in Boston, and Joe Cap was a Chicano cat from the barrio in New Mexico.
Right.
But they were holding a 50-year grudge from this controversial hit that Angelo Mosca laid on the star running back for BC in 1963, George.
I know.
63, I mean, I introduced the clip from a day when the world was flat. Brother, it was amazing, you know? So he was like, what's gonna come next, the Hindenburg? So, anyway, he comes up, and he's got a sprig. He's got like a little flower from the, looks like a piece of heather from one of the table settings, right? And I just comically say to Cap, hey, it's a peace offering, is it? He looks at me and goes, yeah. Anyway, but he's got crazy eyes. You know, remember when you'd go out drinking with a buddy and after 3 beers, it's like, oh, when did he show up? Right? So he's got the sprig, and I'm just standing there like, you know, look, I'm the midget who jumped the fence to get in the circus. I feel like a circus act, man. The only thing I'm missing are a couple of chihuahuas and a clown hat, you know? So, anyway, there's Angelo Mosca, this behemoth, but he's got a cane.
Yeah. He's not a kid.
But he's still a big man. I shook his hand, George, and it was like it was swallowed by another dimension. It was like this amorphous piece of meat grabbed my hand and, whoa, right? So he's on the other side of the stage, and Cap is beside me. And Cap, can I stand up a bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So Cap starts flicking this thing in front of Mosca's face. And I remember thinking, just in a split second, geez, I wouldn't do that.
Well, and then this happens.
And then it happens.
Show this. Here it is.
Take a seat by Angelo. Maybe you could relive those moments. Right.
He's just showing your ass.
Yeah. There. Boom. Look.
Okay, and so in that...
No. It's just like...
And then what happened? We only saw it till it ended. What happened after that?
Angelo falls.
Yeah.
And his head goes behind the curtain. Right? And his head goes behind the curtain, and the rest of his torso is on the stage. Yeah. And Joe goes up and puts 2 into his midsection, just so he'll stay down. And then Joe started making his speech about sportsmanship, which, you know, I don't know who was beaming down the messages from the mothership, brother. But... And everybody, but there were all kinds of vets there, right?
Yeah.
And all kinds of people who'd played in the league and were just going, whoa. But, you know, if there's a lesson in this, let the grudge go.
Yeah. But lessons learned about how to spend your golden years, because it was kind of exciting and exhilarating to see these 2 guys who still had it in them.
Well, you know, I guess that is, that is another perspective one could take as well. Unfortunately, what was lost in this... Donnybrook was the message of the day, which is excellent intentions and a noble cause to raise money and awareness for guys who are living in poverty and obscurity with these injuries they've sustained. I mean, the CFL and the Grey Cup are such quintessential Canadian experiences, but the drunken fans in the stands are actually making more money than the guys that are getting hit in the field.
Right. It's pretty terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not new for you to be a part of things that have a message and that are, you recently were talking about the Keystone Pipeline. I mean, talk about that. I mean, and the position that you took.
Well, they asked me, and I just felt that...
They being the press, or...?
Yeah, the press, it was one of those articles in the Globe and Mail, and they asked me, though, they said, why would a Maritimer care about something like that? And I don't think that it's regionally exclusive to what you should care about, you know? And
in fact, that's the kind of questioning that's divisive and that expects you to not be part of a country or even a planet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's, I don't know what the angle of his questioning was supposed to result in, but I was perplexed because we're all informed, we all stay informed, and your piece on Occupy Wall Street, and everybody has to stay informed in order to change the direction of things. And, just because some people have the key to the government store or the reins of power doesn't mean that you have to put your brain on the back burner.
Hey, this one of the reasons for being on this show and the way we've always approached the show from day one is not to spoon feed the audience. I'll meet you halfway. It's your job to meet me the other half.
Absolutely.
And I learned that from actually watching comics growing up. Well, let's play this clip here. I think this guy had an impact on you as well. Watch this.
You see, Los Angeles does this Hollywood Boulevard thing, which is a con, I think. Those stars on the pavement. And every 4th one, you never heard of the guy. Harry McPherson. New York should do it. They should do it different. They don't have stars on the street. Have big splat marks where people have jumped off the
That's an incredibly important Billy Connolly show, isn't it?
How great is that?
He's the best.
How great is he? I was broke in Los Angeles, and surprised me. And no. Things are tight when you're giving your mother Christmas gifts and she calls up and she goes, I say, did you like the potholders, Mom? And she said, yeah. I said, that's the way they come in Los Angeles, covered in crusty food with burn marks on it. But I remember...
stole them from restaurants.
I mean, but everybody was in the same boat, the folks that went down from Second City to start that show and things, and we all hit the wall at different times. But I saw Billy Connolly, in his first HBO special. And once again, you're talking about epiphanies earlier.
On TV, or were you in the States?
No, on TV. No, I couldn't afford to, to see him. And I remember watching him and seeing this tartan wizard sing the songs of his tribe, and he flew across the stage, and I was just mesmerized.
He didn't, and has never changed his act for the audience. He just did. He was talking about, I remember that especially, he was talking about stuff that most people didn't even get at the time. But he seemed to keep on talking about it.
Well, that's a level of courage and bravery that, I think that, he's absolutely uncompromising. And I think that, you grow into that. And, but I think he came out fully formed, But it was interesting. I had an opportunity to thank him at Just for Laughs several years ago. Wow. And I said, look, I just want to tell you, brother, that you're the reason I'm here. "Oh, isn't that nice? That's nice. Yes, that's nice." And I said, what's the trick? He goes, "Sing your song. Just sing your song." And that's it, you know. And you have to take the joy of the work. I mean, it's not where comedy's going to get you, but where it's put you. It's where you are. So, you know, and people say to me sometimes, "When are you taking your act to the States?" I say, "Well, look, man, you know, I'm so Canadian, Canadians don't know what the hell I'm talking about sometimes." But, you know, 2,000 people laughing in Edmonton in a snowstorm sounds exactly the same as 2,000 people laughing in Los Angeles when it's warm. Right. So when you're in the moment and when you're in the pocket, and those folks in the country who've paid $55 to see you and made the effort, you know, to leave the house and get a sitter, you know, they deserve to have their load lightened for those 2 hours. And I think every comedian has his own approach to how he's going to embrace the muse. But that's mine. I just figure it's a comic's job to connect the dots and make sense of the chaos we're all walking through.
So fantastic. Stick around. We're going to find out about some of Ron's famous friends like Mike Myers. Anthropology with Ron James right after this.
Listen, Billy, you still want to kick Dad out?
But I love the guy. I always got along great with him, you know that.
Well, you don't know the fella anymore. Well, God knows you don't get along very well.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a while ago. Right. I did 3 movies, and that's one of them.
Is it called Something About Love?
It is Something About Love. Actually, I was nominated for a Genie Award for that, actually, years ago, and it was great, you know, to have that opportunity to act with some good folks, and you know, I enjoyed doing film when I had the opportunity to be cast in one, and but you know, it's really live work where the soul note sings the loudest for me.
You've had a great run when it kicked in and lots of success, but what was the downside? What did the success give you? And it must have taken something as well.
It always does, you know. It has, you know, impacts on your personal life, and you know, you spend many a night in the belly of the whale, brother. And but you know, at the end of the day, you got to keep your eyes on the prize, and the Grail is really the opportunity to, for me anyway, engage and embrace the life force by traveling and discovering what makes those folks in different places tick.
What do you do though so that's the Grail for you, but I mean, just think about the context of having a relationship. So there you are, you're in a relationship and you have a common goal in a sense, and then when success happens to one person in the relationship, there's a shift.
Yeah.
And then and that must have been a really big adjustment.
Yeah, it's tough, man, and it's tough for them too, you know. I mean, you know, they don't, you know, she didn't get standing ovations every
partner,
night.
Right?
Yeah. Well, my wife of 23 years, you know. And we raised 2 great daughters, and you know, we spend a great deal of time together still. And who knows what the world's going to bring. But you know, it was my children actually that really shifted the gears of responsibility for me, where before there was always a passive approach to career that an agent would give you an audition and you'd go and you'd get it, right? But then when your children came, you know, when I remember my eldest is 23, and I remember we had her at St. Mike's, and this is how long ago it was, when the doctor went to get her from my wife. When my wife delivered her, a pack of smokes fell out of his pocket. Great. You know, of course, I was born in a field, but anyway, that's a long time ago. When you see the faces of your children and you know that you're responsible for them. Yeah. I mean, that's when the equation changed for me. And in Los Angeles too, you know, when all of us who went down from Second City hit the wall at different times, and you know, I mean, I'd gone from playing sold-out houses weekly, that you know, nightly, that you took for granted, at 110 Lombard Street, and then suddenly, you know, you're broke with 17 bucks in the bank in L.A., and nobody's got a life preserver, and you're throwing your name in a hat at Ventura Boulevard coffee houses to share the stage with the illegitimate spawn of the Manson clan wandering down from their Topanga Canyon warrens looking for the love that Charlie never gave. I mean, you know, you're in the deep end. You're in the deep end, brother. You know. No, I followed a guy with a tattoo all over his face. Right? There's a career limiter. You know, you're not going to get the romantic leads when there's a spider web in your face, buddy.
But you never know. But look, for the thing is that for all the cats who hit the wall, some of them eventually found their way through it. You knew Mike Myers in the early days. What was Mike? Because Mike is kind of this enigma now. Mike was everywhere, and now Mike's nowhere. You don't hear about him very much. What was
the
he
best
like?
memories I have of everybody is when we were making $350 a week in the Second City Touring Company, traveling up the 400 to play Deerhurst, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we were paid in a bag of russets and a Dixie cup of our own piss. You know, George. Yeah. Come on, man. You know. It wasn't you know.
What was Mike like back then?
He was a hungry, scrawny young satirist just like the rest of us. He showed up in the van with a box of crackers, a case of Coke, a bottle of Tums, and a copy of Harold Pinter and a soccer ball.
Nice.
Come on. And, you know, we were all just, we were all learning this wonderful craft that would define us, you know, and that would blaze a trail for each of us. Each of us had the responsibility to blaze our own trail. But that's the thing that sustains you over time. It's not money. It's not the accoutrements of consumer culture. It's the joy of doing the work.
Right. You're a masterpiece. Check out our show, The Ron James Show, Fridays, 8 o'clock right here on CBC. And January 1st, it's a tradition, the annual Ron James New Year's show. Check it out.
Thanks.
Right.